Well, good morning, viewers. Today we have a 2008 Hyundai, and it's here for a couple problems. For some reason, the power steering belt was slipping. It's manually adjusted, so I tightened the power steering belt and the alternator belt. They're all manually adjusted belts, and it seems to be fine now, but it has a miss in it, and I'm doing a network code scan right now to see what codes is generated. Check engine light is on. So here's the results of the network scan. P0300, random misfire, P0303, 4, and 1. Misfire on cylinder 3, 4, and 1. Battery voltage low, random cylinder misfires. Well, let's see if we have freeze frame data in here in the engine computer. Yeah, we do. Our misfire counters would be better. It's missing right now, so there's no point. I don't know. It probably doesn't have dedicated misfire counters. Oh, it should be in generic under mode 6. Okay, let's look under mode 6. Generic functions, mode 6. See if they've got it decoded. Come on, you can do it. Catalyst monitor, misfire cylinder 1. Let's see how many misfires it's counted on cylinder 1. Last 10 drive cycles 2. Okay. Misfire on cylinder 2 over the last 10 drive cycles. 5,335, and the current drive cycle was 572. Misfire on cylinder 3, 21, and misfire on cylinder 4. 0. So it's not really random. Some of the misfire algorithms weren't that accurate. So it's actually a problem with cylinder number 2 according to the OBD2 misfire monitors, primarily missing on cylinder number 2. So let's see if we can confirm that at the vehicle. So you can see it's missing right now. And if you remove this harness so that you can get at it and pull these lock pins back, you can unplug the ignition coils. Now this is number 2 coil. Down, they're hard to get off. That one's definitely working. As you can see, that one's definitely working. But watch what happens when I unplug number 3. So it's actually number 3 that has the miss, not number 2. Way to go. So we're going to remove the coil in number 3. When I pulled number 1, 2, and 4 off, it ran significantly worse, and you saw that with number 3 disconnected, it makes no difference. So we're going to pull the coil out and have a look at, see what's going on with the coil, see if there's a bad coil. No signs of carbon tracking in there. So let's plug this coil in and put a spark tester in it and see if we have spark. Let's get a spark tester. Spark tester in there, and it's hooked up to ground. I'm going to start it up and see if we have any spark on that cylinder. And as you can see, there's no spark. So I'm going to turn the spark tester in. See if we have a weak spark. Yeah, see, we got a weak spark, so that's a failed coil. Should be a nice blue spark, and it should jump the length of your thumb. So we need a coil. Let's have a look at that coil. This thing needs a coil. let's pull the plug out of that cylinder and have a look at it. So there's the spark plug out of that cylinder. It's pretty fouled and significantly worn on the center electrode. So I'm going to recommend a set of plugs and one coil. So there's the 4 spark plugs out of it. You can see that they're kind of fouled, especially number 3. And 3 coils in order. Check the end of the coil boots for carbon tracking. We're going to put new plugs in it and a new coil in number 3. Yes, I know it's not OEM, but here's the NGK plug number that I'm putting in. That's what it calls for. And an aftermarket ignition coil. Bobbin. So there's the spark plugs and coil reinstalled. Put dielectric grease on the boots of the coils and on the connector seals. As well as I used a little tiny bit of never seize on the thread of the spark plug. Spark plug thread torque is 18 to 20 foot-pounds. And the spark plug gap, if you're going to check them, is 40 to 42 thou. These ones are quite worn. So we're going to connect the scanner to it and clear the codes and then start it up, see how it runs. So we're waiting for the scanner to ID the vehicle. Key on. Okay. Go into engine. Clear codes. I probably generated some codes by disconnecting the coils. That should clear the freeze frame data, or it does clear the freeze frame data. And we're going to look at engine data when we start this thing up. So there's misfire counters in the engine data list. As you can see, it's running fine now. I'm going to take it for a road test. Hopefully that hasn't done any damage to the catalytic converter. You can see that by looking at bank 1 sensor 1 and bank 1 sensor 2. There it is. See, the forward oxygen sensor is switching rich and lean. The back oxygen sensor should be flat lined, but not that flat lined. I wonder if that sensor is actually malfunctioning. Well, we're going to take it for a road test. So I just came back from a 10-minute road test. Car runs beautiful. I'm not happy with the rear oxygen sensor. I think it's either the heater's not working or the sensor is just pegged. You notice it doesn't, well, that time it did respond. I think maybe the heater's not working because it idled for several minutes and there was no change in the rear O2 sensor. Now it seems to be working. Let's see if there's any pending codes. If it even supports pending codes. Huh. That's odd. P0302 and 304, yet I never felt it miss at all. It ran beautiful. Let's look in data here and see. There's no check engine light on. I don't know if this data list showing the misfire counts. No, that looks like current misfires, not misfire history. Yeah, they're all 0. I never felt it miss once. I'm going to check some other things. So I'm going to do a resetting of adaptive values. I did not do that. I just cleared the codes. I went and looked at mode 6 data and cylinder 3 and 4 had counted several misfires on that drive cycle. Let's see if there's any other engine running tests. Yeah, engine must be running. Injector disable. Engine off tests. Ignition on, engine ready, light off. Check engine light, canister close, fuel pump, AC compressor, fuel pump, immobilizer, canister close valve, cooling fan, relay, ignition coil. Oh, that's cool. Could have used that to command the ignition coil to fire. They must have hired a Chrysler engineer for this vehicle. Well, I'm going to take it for another short road test and see what happens. See if it counts any more misfires. So just came back from another road test after resetting the adaptives. Let's see if it set any codes. I didn't feel any misfires. No, it did not log any codes. But we're going to give it back to the customer with the potential for it to illuminate the MIL and further diagnostics required, both for that rear O2 sensor and random misfire with no misfires present. I was looking for a crankshaft variation relearn, but I don't see it. Where's the rear O2 sensor? There it is. Now it's pegged at 0.75 volts. So this sensor is probably failing too, but that's a minor detail. It should not affect the performance of the vehicle because it's for catalyst monitoring primarily. So that's it for now. We'll boot this one out the door and call it a day. Thanks for watching.